Hello, I'm Himanshu Vats, and today we have with us a prolific business leader, a very well known name in the startup and MSME sector, and a leading player in the online B2B marketplace. Let's welcome Mr. Dinesh Agrawal, the founder and CEO of IndiaMart. Welcome to PTI, Mr. Agrawal. How do you see the use of technology in the B2B business and how you are going to use it on your platform?
In the last couple of years, I think there has been especially good advancement on the artificial intelligence first. So, for example, things where mixed language, misspelled results, we could not do because there are no dictionary of the misspelled languages and mixed languages. Now we are able to do a lot of that with the use of artificial intelligence. We are able to do a better matchmaking of the entire text of buyer and supplier with the better. We have been able to reduce the man hour spent on blocked content or restricted content that can be automatically flagged off by way of the artificial intelligence usage. Voice search is something that was not possible before artificial intelligence. Voice recognition only became perfect in the last 3, 4, 5 years. So, these are some of the uses that I can upfront recall. Even in the image recognition or image classification was not very perfected, and even today it is in the process of being perfected. So, we are trying to find many more use cases through various artificial intelligence innovation that is happening around the world.
Do you see any cut in the number of jobs due to introduction of AI in your platform?
We might have optimized few BPO processes or pure data entry, data moderation processes, but many more have started because of the AI, because of the training thing and because of the AI audit itself. So, every time the technology comes, the nature of the job changes, not the jobs get reduced. In fact, the jobs get augmented, because whatever you could not do earlier, now you can serve even that market. So, as I said, we could not serve mixed language market, or we could not serve people who could not type their requirement, or people who could not describe their product. Now they can simply take a photo and search. Now simply they can take speak in their own language and search. So, this actually expands the business horizon and thereby needing more people.
Since your business is expanding, do you have any near-term or long-term hiring plans? How you are going to handle the increasing number of customers on your platform?
We continue to hire. So, until before COVID, we had about 3,500 odd people, and during COVID, because we did not hire for 18 months, we came down to less than 3,000 people. Now we are almost touching 5,500 people. So, I think we have added a lot more number of people. Even in this quarter, we have added upwards of 200 people. So, with the business growth, I think in line with the business growth, we can see about 20% number of people being added every year. So, that itself makes it 1,000 every year.
Since the introduction of ONDC, do you see any challenge to IndiaMart?
No, ONDC is actually good for everybody, because what happens currently, whatever IndiaMart does, or whatever Zomato does, or whatever MakeMyTrip does, they only are able to do their own supply and demand. However, with the ONDC open network, you can actually tap into aggregate all the supplies across all the marketplaces and create your own demand, or whatever demand that you have, you can give all the supplies. So, for example, the different seller apps on ONDC will give you option to upload your information, or to be accessed your information across multiple marketplaces. Currently, if a restaurant wants to upload their inventory or upload their order taking system, they have to go and do it on different portals. However, now if ONDC is there, it will make things easier for everybody, and it will probably bring down the cost of doing business. I do not think it is going to be very early on that B2B will be adopted, I think the early adopters would be more purely digital or purely hyperlocal adoption, because one, B2B commerce is highly customizable, because you don't just buy a shirt, you actually buy certain designs, certain sizes, certain packaging, certain branding of your own. Similarly, B2B is not very hyperlocal, it is a lot of national level transportation from here to there. So, I think the first adoption on the ONDC will come more for maybe ride hailing, maybe ticketing services, maybe food ordering, maybe FMCG ready ordering, which can come to you quickly. Over the time, it can be expanded into banking services, insurance services, and maybe B2B also in times to come. Unlike the UPI, which is only purely digital and purely connects banks and service provider, the number of moving parts are very few. In the ONDC, the number of moving parts of the platform are too many, because you have to work on logistics, you have to work on payments, you have to work on search, you have to work on delivery, you have to work on refunds. So, it is lot more complex and lot more ambitious. It will take some time, but if it becomes successful, it will be good for the country, I think.
So, talking about the export fund, we have heard that earlier IndiaMart has stopped export. Now it has resumed. Would you explain about this?
Yeah, so we historically were a export-import marketplace from 1996 until around 2009 or 10. But then things changed dramatically between 2007 and 10. One, India became a very lucrative market for domestic commerce. Also, if you really see, in the last 15 years, export hasn't grown much. Whatever export figures that we had achieved in 2010, I think we are not very double of that or triple of that, and that's a very small CAGR. What happened, what changed in 2020 is the COVID related stuff. So, what happened, everybody's supply chains were all going towards China, and everybody felt that it becomes very difficult if China is facing COVID challenges. So, I think things started to change from there. Also, it coincided with the government initiative of reducing the corporate tax from 30% to 25%. That also made India a little more competitive on the taxation front. GST was introduced just 5-6 years ago. Everything probably coincided, and people again started to look for export, India as an export destination. So, initially there was a natural demand of medical products, automobile products, and so there was a lot of COVID related stuff which was in demand during 2020 and 2021. We also thought that during these 10 years somebody else will make a better export marketplace, but to our dismay, nobody has been able to make any other export marketplace. So, we relaunched our export offering in 2021 only, and I think we are very happy to say that we have already been able to get about 6,000, 7,000 plus exporters on our platform, doing good handsome business. And yes, as you can see, exports from India are patchy, one quarter they grow handsomely and one quarter they are not. So, I think we can't help create demand from the world. If there is a demand from the world for India, I think we can definitely aggregate and channelize it better. Whether world will look at India for export, that will depend on our Indian government's pricing power and the ease of doing business and many other things, I guess. But we are able to channelize the whatever demand is there to whatever is the rightmost supplier or rightmost exporter. Even today, if you see, pharma is still in a very much demand, especially retail pharma is still in very much demand for export, and many other industries. So, and given that over the next 10 years, the entire world is looking at diversifying their supply chains, I believe that forcefully also there would be a lot of demand coming on the export side. So export is going to be now a parallel focus at IndiaMart. While in the last 10 years we have purely focused on domestic business, I think now we are going to be focusing on both the businesses parallelly.
Are you planning to introduce payment system on your platform?
We already have a payment facilitation platform called paywithindiamart.com, and when we launched that payment facilitation platform, it was purely to facilitate payments because UPI did not exist then. But by the time we launched and UPI also came in, so now everybody has a payment gateway in his hand. I can transfer money to you, you can transfer money to me. Earlier this was not possible so easily, Now, so payment facilitation is not the need anymore. It is the trust which is required by the buyer and supplier in doing the transaction, that they want IndiaMart to be the part of the their whole negotiation, so that tomorrow if something goes wrong, we can go to an arbitrator like IndiaMart to say this supplier hasn't given me the goods, or this buyer hasn't paid me the. So it is for the security of the buyer and seller that we are doing the payment facilitation. Currently it is still at a very small stage. I don't think we are going to integrate it directly into buy now pay now kind of a system, because as I said, B2B products are very customizable, very bulky and very time taking across. So most people prefer to do talking an agreement before actually doing the transaction. It is not a small order value transaction. Generally our order values start from where the e-commerce order values ends. So that is why I think payment integration may not be possible. We also facilitate international payments now. So through TazaPay, a company, we have partnered, and you might have seen a press release also, where they are able to facilitate international payments at 0% pricing. Only the rupee to dollar conversion or rupee to euro conversion charges are charged. There is no other separate fees charged.
So that was all for now, Mr. Agrawal. We would definitely wish great success to IndiaMart. Thank you very much for talking to PTI.
Thank you very much. Always welcome.